What's up, you guys? Welcome back into iHeartRadio's official wrestling podcast, the Battleground Podcast. It is a big week here on the show. We have a guest that we like to call, I guess we could say best friends now, because, I mean, he's been on the show many times. He set the records of most appearances on the show. I'm going to bring in my tag team partner, Eli. And, without further ado, let's just go ahead and bring him in. It's the first time we've seen each other on camera. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Tony Khan. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well, Tim. Thanks for having me on today.
Thanks for
not
coming on the
that
show.
I'm being biased or anything, Tony, but there's my shirt. So
wow, the king.
That's just throwing it out there.
Very
That's
cool.
Just throwing it out there. But let's talk
Very
about
cool.
this Honor Club, man. I want to, before we talk about Ring of Honor for this Friday night, I want to talk about Honor Club. I mean, had a very successful relaunch. Both you get my money and Eli's money every month because we joined it. Do you have any numbers to report on that side of things, of like the numbers of how many subscribers have come out?
Well, we have more subscribers than ever before for Ring of Honor streaming, which is amazing because we just relaunched the service from scratch and already have set a record with about 15,000 subscribers to Ring of Honor right now, just for the TV, which is amazing. And also we're doing great numbers for pay-per-view. So it's really amazing how well Ring of Honor has done since we've relaunched. In addition to all the exciting things happening in AEW right now, we have a huge show tonight in St. Louis, AEW Dynamite. And then we're heading to LA for a huge Supercard of Honor. So very exciting times in wrestling.
Pertaining to the Thursday night show, which has been blowing up the last few weeks.
Fantastic.
Critical acclaim. Was there any pressure to present the new Ring of Honor kind of in the old way? Or did you have was there any pressure to kind of make it similar to AEW? Or like, what was your thought process between like the presentation of the Thursday night show?
I feel like it's been very beneficial to AEW and to me to go do Ring of Honor because there's no pressure at all. I like going there. There was no pressure on me to do anything. I can do whatever I want. There's no network. There's no breaks. There's no timing, really. I can just put on shows of any length and any duration and any content I would like. So it's a lot of fun. And I also think it gave me a fresh perspective. And I think it's been beneficial to AEW as well. For Ring of Honor, there is such a loyal fan base. And I wanted to present a Ring of Honor that would really resonate with Ring of Honor fans from the past. But I also realized that we're trying to grow the Ring of Honor fan base, which we've successfully done now, where we have record numbers for subscribers and had a record number on pay-per-view also. So now we're looking at also the best attendance we've done since I took over, coming in for Supercard of Honor. And we've done most of the best gates in Ring of Honor history have just been these shows we've done since I took over. This is only my fourth Ring of Honor pay-per-view event. And so far, it's been a great relaunch. And we have a big pay-per-view coming up this Friday night. And for hardcore wrestling fans, I think it's really one of the major talking points in the sport right now is what's coming up this Friday on Ring of Honor. Normally, I'm coming in with you to talk about what's happening on AEW Dynamite. We have a huge show on TBS tonight, but also a lot of interest in what's happening in Ring of Honor this week.
Yeah, and it's been insane just watching everything and kind of go back to it. You also don't have to worry about finding people if they say dirty words on, Ring of Honor on Thursday nights. If they want to slip something up, no, you don't have to find them there. But of course, talking about Supercard of Honor, which is going to be available to watch on pay-per-view this week and also on Bleacher Report, which you announced earlier this week. This year's Supercard of Honor is upon us, and it's going to be a little bittersweet after the untimely passing of Jay Briscoe this past January. So let's talk about what we are sure will be a highlight of the night, the Reach for the Sky ladder match to determine the new ROH World Tag Team Champions. I mean, how did this tribute come about, and what can we expect out of this match?
We were talking about ideas to pay tribute to the late, great Jamin Pugh, Jay Briscoe. And so many of us love Jay Briscoe. He was beloved in the locker room, and there's wrestling fans all over the world that loved him. And we wanted to pay tribute to him in Ring of Honor. It was something special. And of all the ideas I heard, this was by far the best idea. It came from somebody who liked him a lot and wanted to contribute a good idea. And it's really something that Mark Briscoe really thought it was a great idea, and that was important to me too. Of course, Mark Briscoe is wrestling on this pay-per-view for the Ring of Honor World TV title, but
Can't
Mark
wait.
Briscoe also co-holder of the World Tag Team Championship, and having his opinion, having his buy-in to this plan made all the difference in the world. And so we're going to have the Jay Briscoe Reach for the Sky tag team ladder match to determine new champions. It'll be new belts. We retired the old design, but we will always pay tribute to the Briscoe brothers. And I'm very, very excited for this pay-per-view on Friday. And one of the major reasons is the Reach for the Sky tag team ladder match, paying tribute to the late, great Jay Briscoe.
Right. We're huge belt guys, in case you can't see behind Tim.
No,
so we're
I can't
excited to see
tell.
the new belts. Yep. Incredible. Another title match that's got a lot of people buzzing would be the Pure Championship. Wheeler Yuta versus Japanese legend Katsuyori Shibata. Did I say that right? Was that close? The Blackpool Combat Club, they've shown a lot of aggression as of late, and kind of uncharacteristic, I'd say. How do you think that helps the champ in a title match of this magnitude?
Oh, I think the Blackpool Combat Club and their recent success really bodes well for the champ in this match. And I think we've seen the Blackpool Combat Club come in and more intense and more determined than ever. Certainly a darker side of the Blackpool Combat Club than what we're used to. But for Wheeler Yuta in particular, seeing that new edge, that aggressiveness to him, it's something he showed on the independent scene, I think. And, I knew he had this in him. And now in AEW, we're seeing that darker side of Wheeler Yuta too. Shibata is one of the greatest wrestlers of our generation. It's also one of the most inspiring stories in pro wrestling in many years. For those who don't know, I think a lot of people saw Shibata came into AEW, and that's how a lot of fans here learned this story. And then there's a lot of hardcore fans that know the story very well also, that Shibata was retired from wrestling and he had life-threatening injuries. To say they were career-threatening would be an understatement. Nobody ever thought Shibata could, would, or should ever wrestle again. But he worked so hard to get cleared and get to the point where he was absolutely, by every doctor we've spoken to, he is allowed, he's cleared, he's good to do this. And he had his big return bout against Orange Cassidy in AEW. And the appetite, the interest around it left people wanting so much more. And he's continued to work hard in this comeback. And now for Shibata, somebody who is such a great star in this sport, to have him wrestling Wheeler Yuta for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship at Supercard this Friday, it's a huge, huge deal. And we're really excited about the pay-per-view.
For sure. And the one thing I'm excited about is because when you see these pay-per-views, you're usually at a late night show. But the fact that in Nashville time, it starts at 6:00 this Friday night live on pay-per-view, is it good for you to have these early night pay-per-view shows start earlier than, waiting till like 8 or 9 o'clock Eastern time? So like 7 o'clock our time.
Well, I think the 0 hour starts then at 6. But to be fair, I think it's going to start at a pretty usual start time that you get for a pay-per-view, because I think it'll be 5 p.m. Eastern. So I do think, to your point, 5 p.m. Pacific. So to your point, now we're just confusing people, Tim.
We're throwing out we just need one
start time
specific time zone.
This is the normal start time.
Okay.
This is I think the time they normally start, is it not?
Yeah, well, when I was looking at it earlier, I saw that it said it starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, it's going to be an early night for me.
That's
like,
0 hour.
I could, yeah, okay. And, we've had the conversation. Liam gets so excited about all these wrestling shows. And now that he can watch that and still be able to get into bed at a decent hour, even though it's a Friday night.
Well, if they end a little bit earlier, because on our pay-per-views, we typically do 3-hour pay-per-views, whereas for AEW, they're 3 hours and 55 minutes typically. So
right.
It's somewhere in that range. This is going to be a great show. It's going to be a really good value for your money. It's going to be one of the best wrestling shows of the year.
Super excited. And of course, now let's talk about the big main event, which could not have been scripted better. I mean, you could tell who Eli's cheering for in this match. I mean, it sees
the people on the radio can't tell. I almost thought this was more productive when we did it because this is a radio interview and you guys keep showing me stuff on video that nobody can see.
Well, we also put the video up on the radio station's pages so they could watch it as well. So it's all over the place. We give it to everybody. But I mean, we see longtime rivals Eddie Kingston taking on one of the greatest adversaries, the current ROH champ Claudio. I mean, this match has instant classic written all over it. What would it mean for ROH for Eddie Kingston to do the unthinkable, defeat Claudio for the world title, and essentially becoming the face of Ring of Honor?
It would be incredible. And that's one of the reasons people are so excited about this pay-per-view. Eddie Kingston is one of the most popular wrestlers in the world. You don't have to look any further than that shirt to see there's fans all over that love Eddie. And if you can't see, if you're not watching the video version, that's a great looking Eddie Kingston shirt. And Eddie Kingston is one of the most popular wrestlers we've had in AEW. He also had wrestled in Ring of Honor, but his history with Claudio goes back even further. They've wrestled each other in Chikara, in independent promotions, and they genuinely hate each other. It is exciting to get one of these big matches where the guys absolutely despise each other, but they want to get in the ring and prove who the better wrestler is. And that's what we're going to get at the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor this weekend. And, you know, like I said, it's a little bit different doing it on a Friday, but it's kind of the standard start time for one of our shows. But I think you're going to see the amount of action you get in this 3-hour pay-per-view plus the 0 hour. It's going to be about as great a night of wrestling as we've had in a long time. I got to say, though, AEW and Ring of Honor, it's very competitive because I think we've got a great card for Ring of Honor. We also are probably coming off one of the best AEW shows we've ever done. AEW Revolution might be our best pay-per-view there. So it's really awesome what's happening. AEW and Ring of Honor both putting on great shows. I'm excited for AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite tonight live on TBS, and very excited about Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor coming up on Friday. And hopefully we'll get you guys out to one of the live shows. I like seeing you on here now.
Yeah.
But maybe you in person.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't mind taking a trip to Florida now. I mean, Tennessee weather's kind of awful at the moment.
I was debating trying to get out to Double or Nothing because I went a few years back and I can't make it happen. But yeah, I got to get back to a pay-per-view.
We definitely got to get back to. And I know we put up a thing the other day, the gift that goes around on Twitter of you and you're like, book it. And we put that as a teaser for you being on the show today. And so we asked some listeners if they had any questions. And I know Eli grabbed one of the listeners' questions. It's a really good one.
Yeah, it's actually from another podcast that we're friends with. They wanted to know if there's, and this was for AEW and Ring of Honor, if there is any interest in working with Stardom, and if so, are there any wrestlers from Stardom that are maybe on your radar at the moment?
I am interested in working with Stardom. It's something that I've talked to New Japan about, and obviously they have that business relationship there. And it's definitely something I'd be open to. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, but definitely interesting things happening in the world of Joshi. And we've brought some great Joshi wrestlers over.
Legends.
We have a great women's division, exciting things happening there. So I would be interested to work with Stardom in the future.
Killer.
Sweet. Well, we don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're a busy man.
God, this week's got to be insane for you.
Talking about it earlier. I was like, when does Tony ever sleep? Does he have like a cot at gorilla position where he's just like lean back if he could try to take
or
a
does
nap?
like John just follow you around with coffee and just here. Like
I drink a lot of coffee. I think we've seen some video evidence of that. And I'm going to drink a lot. I'm heading from this NFL owners meeting to St. Louis for what is going to be a great show, Wednesday Night Dynamite on TBS, and then have some meetings before I go to LA. So I've actually got another stop after St. Louis before I head to LA. But I love the grind. And I haven't taken a Wednesday off since 2019, guys. And I love it.
And the new show debuts tonight as well, right? All Access. Is that tonight?
Absolutely. AEW All Access premieres tonight following Wednesday Night Dynamite. So it's such an exciting week for us with Wednesday Night Dynamite, All Access, Ring of Honor TV tomorrow. And then, of course, that's the go home for the big Supercard of Honor pay-per-view. We're going to have a great time. And now I'm getting used to this, doing the video interviews. So now I'm sorry we're ending because I feel like we're just getting in this good groove. Normally we're just talking on the phone, but this is a different vibe doing the video.
Yeah, we'll have to we'll set up another time when there's not crazy busyness for you and you can have a free moment and we can do a little bit of a long form interview. And, again, we don't want to take up your time, but it's always an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show anytime we can get you on.
It's great to see you, Tim, and my pleasure to see you, Eli, and hopefully we'll get you guys to a show sometime soon. And Eli, that is a great Eddie Kingston shirt. If you're listening on the radio, Eddie Kingston versus Claudio Friday on pay-per-view. It's going to be a big one. Plus, Claudio's wrestling tonight on TBS. Claudio too, and a big one. The BCC versus Dalton Castle and the boys. That'll be fun.
Man, feel bad for the boys on that one. But Tony, we appreciate you coming on the show today, and we look forward to talking to you soon, and looking forward to all the fun stuff that AEW and Ring of Honor have in store for us this week.
Thank you so much for having me on, Tim. It was really nice to see you. Nice to see you too, Eli, and hopefully see you guys soon.